Hey everyone, so again, I go out walking and I'm out walking tonight. It's a little bit of a hotter day today, so I got my tank top on and it's a little bit later in the evening, so therefore it's cool enough. But I'm out in a different neighborhood that I've been in a bit, but not too often. And what I love to do is when I come up to a new street, just look down at it and see what kind of trees I see and what I might find along my walk. And I just kind of wanted to today talk a little bit about what is an urban forest and kind of urban forestry and see what you all think about it all. So I'll send you around here to the street now. All right, so here we're looking down a street and you can already tell right away that there's different kinds of trees because of the colors and the way that the trees come out over the street. And I was talking before about urban forestry. What in the world am I talking about is an urban forest, and what do you mean urban forestry or urban forest or community forest? And what I am talking about is essentially all of the trees and large plants that make up a community or urban setting. So it could be a small community, or it could be an entire metropolis, kind of like San Antonio. But all of the trees that are within that urban or city or metropolis setting, those are all part of the urban forest. And what's so unique about urban forest and talking about them like that is how when you think of forest, you think of nature and you think of these big natural areas with lots and lots of trees and animals and plants and diversity and a different ecosystem. Well, that is also in cities, but at a different scale. And again, I don't know if y'all are seeing, I'm literally just walking down the middle of the street because that's what I do. I typically always have just one earbud in when I'm walking, so I can always hear what's going on around me. So if you need any tips on how to stay safe out there walking, that's what tip. But if you're looking at all the different trees around you, there's a small little new one right there. We've got some big ones here. We've got this one over here that it's lacking a little bit of its density in the canopy, where these over here have loads of leaves and pretty full canopies, dense canopy, you could say. And of course, there's some really cool houses, so feel free to gander. And so the urban forestry is all of the trees and plants, and then the small trees that make up all of that urban forest. So again, there's also the community forest, which you could talk about is the smaller communities, a community forest, not the metropolises. So I was talking about seeing a big forest and now thinking about all of the trees that are placed here in this urban setting. In a forest, the trees are just there. They're natural. They are growing from seed or from root sprouts or however that species procreates and comes back into the world and grows. But then here in an urban forestry environment, most of the time that land was cleared and not everything was saved, and we have now placed back all of those plants and those trees. Not all of them. There's definitely some that have been here forever and they've been saved, and there's of course lots of different environmental programs with municipalities that help maintain or determine what gets saved or not. I know in San Antonio here, depending on the diameter of the tree, if you are doing new construction and you have a tree that is a certain diameter, it may cost you up to $14,000 if you want to cut that tree down. Or you mitigate. Essentially, you've now cut down a big tree that can not just be replaced overnight, so you need to mitigate you taking away that tree by either replanting or paying the money that can then be put towards other ways to resupply the urban forest canopy. So again, that is essentially what our urban forest is all of the trees within these areas. And really why it's even a focus is because it is so different than a natural forest, because since we are placing these plants and we are building around them and we're living around them, and there's sidewalks and there's concrete and we have landscaping and we hang things on our trees, we put lights into our trees, we have them over houses, we have them over garages and beside cars, we walk on them, we build on them, we have all kinds of equipment. So now we have placed these trees here. They are supernatural, they're super wonderful, and yet they're also needing to adapt to our environment, and therefore we need to sometimes help them adapt, because we coexist, and there are multiple studies out there that show all of the different amazing benefits of trees, specifically in urban environments. And some of those, of course, include air quality, because our trees help with carbon sequestration. I don't know how to say that word, so we'll just skip that one, but essentially it helps take carbon away. It also, trees, they create shade, so therefore it actually lowers temperatures in areas where there is good, dense tree canopy. And there's a lot more cool trees on the other side here, so I know, you can see my hand. All right, so we were talking about benefits of trees in this urban forest, and talking about the air quality, talking about shade and the actual heat that the trees can help reduce. So essentially they decrease the temperature. There's also a connection and studies that have found that trees help with concentration and overall wellness. So I'll have to dive into those studies a little bit more, but trees in our urban environments are incredibly important to creating, of course, clean air, nice areas to be, and most of our trees in the urban forest are on private land like we're seeing here. Let's see what we got over here. This little tree here is not something I recognize, so it's got some cool leaves. Looks like an oak. It's probably a live oak, but look, it's got some interesting trunk business going on. So it's a little bit interesting. So yeah, most of these private properties, those trees make up our urban forest, and they are a huge factor in that, along with the trees that you'd find in parks and natural spaces within cities. So I hope that gives you a little bit more context of what I mean by urban forest, and also just how important or why there is even a need to identify the trees within an area as an entity per se, and why you want to designate it so that there can be resources and care to be had for those trees in that environment. So before I leave you all today, let's do a little bit more tree review. See this one right here? You see how that bark is a little bit lighter? Without seeing the leaves, that's actually a red oak. It's got that silvery gray, smoother bark. And then again, we have another live oak here. So those are just some trees in our beautiful San Antonio urban forest. And again, or it could be called community forest, depending on what you prefer to say. And talked about a little bit about urban forestry today. But what I also want to encourage each and one of you to do is, whether you have trees at your area or not, next time you go outside, whether you're driving, walking, biking, or maybe just like standing outside your front door or looking out your window, notice your trees and just look at them and just see, oh, hey, look, there's a tree. Maybe you knew that tree was there before. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't realize how many different trees you have and what kind of diversity do you see. So that's my challenge for any of y'all, is to go out and just look at the trees around you and see them. What do you have? What do you see? And if you want to, you could even reply and let me know what you find, or maybe what your thoughts were. What were you surprised by, or what were you not surprised by? Maybe you're like, no, Dana, I see trees all the time. I don't need to go look at them. And that's okay too. Well, hope you learned a little bit about the urban forestry today. If you have got trees, hope you're enjoying them or not. But I know that they're doing well here as best as they can, like we all are. So, wishing you all well. Take care.